episode of Musky Fishing Basics. Today we're going to talk about the transition from early season spring tactics to midsummer or summer tactics. Obviously there's some transition there with the fish. They're making some movements. You got to move with them.
Absolutely.
What are you going to do there, Steve?
Yeah, so obviously that is a really big transition time, and we're kind of getting through that period now, getting past that spring transition. And you know, in the springtime I'm fishing very shallow flats, 1 to 8 feet of water primarily. I like those shallow flats that are very extensive, that go a long way before you have a break in depth. Cover on top of those flats is obviously key. The more you have, the better off it is, but not always necessary, especially early in the spring. Sometimes those clean flats have fish too. Now we're getting into summer period, and those back bays and those back flats and those areas where that warmest water was is now becoming stagnant, filling up with weeds, and the fish are transitioning out, they're pushing out. And so instead of fishing these back bays, I'm now focusing on points. Instead of being up on tops of the flats, I'm focusing on the edges, and then I'm really looking for access to deep water. So I want those weed edges and those points and those inside turns to be adjacent to some of the deeper water in the lake. So we want to get away from those very shallow bays and flats and get to some of that deep water access, and that's usually the key. Sometimes the fish will move up a little bit shallower, but now I'm usually focusing on depths from that 8 to 15 foot range as opposed to 1 foot to 8 foot, and just basically following the fish as they move out.
And typically, what are the tools you're going to use to get that done?
You know, in the summer period, speed is usually key. When we have a good, solid, stable weather patterns, Jeff, bucktails, blades, topwater, fished relatively quickly along those areas is always going to work. Cold front days or days where you have bluebird conditions where the fishing is maybe a little bit tougher, then I'll generally go to rubber. I love ripping rubber in the summer, ripping Magnum bulldogs, pounder bulldogs. Red October monster tubes that worked along the deep weed edge is very, very effective in the summertime. And then again, sometimes making a little bit of cover contact along those deep edges can be the key.
So one last question. I don't know, you mentioned top water. If you're over the 8 to 15 foot of water, is top water still a viable option there?
Absolutely. Especially in the summer period, they will move a long way for it. But you want to let the fish tell you. If the fish are active and aggressive, that's certainly an option that's going to work well. More so on clear water, believe it or not. But top water is always an option if the fish are active. If the fish are inactive and not chasing straight retrieve baits, then we're going to those jerk baits, ripping rubber, and things that start and stop.
Well, there you go. Hopefully Steve gave you a tip here that can help you put another fish in the boat this summer. If you like what we're doing here, stick around and watch another video.